Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Slow English Stories. I'm Lyle, your storyteller and English guide. Today, I have a special story for you. We often hear that our environment defines us, but is that true? Today, we are going to dive into the power of thinking big. This story is designed for you to listen, learn, and grow. As I tell the story, I will stop to explain new words and useful grammar points right as they appear. No boring lists, just learning through the story. This will help you speak more naturally and understand deeply. Are you ready to change your mindset and your English? Let's jump in. The sun was hot, and the air in the small village of Oakhaven smelled of dried dust and old metal. In this village, people did the same thing every day. They worked hard, they ate, and they slept. Among them was a young man named Kael. Kael spent his afternoons in a dark, crowded workshop, fixing broken clocks. The sound of tick-tock, tick-tock was the heartbeat of his life. But Kael's mind was not in the workshop. He was looking through a small, dirty window at the distant, purple mountains. Before we go further, let's look at the word workshop. A workshop is a room or building where things are made or repaired using tools. It is Kael's workplace. Also, notice the word distant. Distant means far away in space or time. The mountains were not close. They were distant. Now, let the grammar. Kael spent his afternoons. This is the past simple tense. We use the past simple to talk about completed actions in the past. The verb spend changes to spent. Kael had a hidden fire inside him. He didn't want to just fix clocks. He wanted to build a great observatory on top of those distant mountains to study the stars. When he told his friends, they laughed until they coughed. "Kael," they said, "you have empty pockets and a dusty face. A poor clock fixer cannot reach the stars. Keep your eyes on the floor." Let's explain the phrase empty pockets. This is a common way to say someone has no money. If your pockets are empty, you are poor. The word observatory is a special building with a large telescope for looking at stars and planets. For the grammar point here, a poor clock fixer cannot reach the stars. This uses the modal verb cannot or can't. We use cannot to talk about a lack of ability or possibility. His friends believed it was impossible for him. Kael felt a cold shiver of doubt. He looked at his stained hands. Maybe they were right. Maybe his big dream was too big for a small village. He was about to close the window and forget the stars forever. But then, an old man named Master Silas walked into the shop. Master Silas was a traveler who had seen the world beyond the hills, and he was carrying something that would change Kael's life. The word shiver means a shaking movement of your body, usually because you are cold or, in Kael's case, because you are afraid or nervous. The word stained means marked with dirt or chemicals that are difficult to remove. Kael's hands were stained with oil from the clocks. Look at this grammar. Master Silas was carrying something. This is the past continuous tense was were plus verb plus ing. We use this to describe an action that was in progress at a specific time in the past. It sets the scene. Master Silas placed a heavy, dark leather bag on Kael's wooden table. The room suddenly smelled of old paper, rain, and adventure. Silas slowly pulled out a gleaming, golden instrument. It was a complex map of the stars, made of metal, but some pieces were broken. "Can you fix this, young man?" Silas asked. His voice was deep and rough, like stones rolling together. Kael's eyes widened as he gently touched the cold, golden metal. Let's pause for a second to look at the word gleaming. If something is gleaming, it is shining brightly, usually because it is clean or made of metal. The golden map was gleaming in the dark room. We also have the word rough. A rough voice is not smooth. It sounds deep and a bit broken, like Master Silas's voice. Look closely at the grammar here. Can you fix this? This is a question using the modal verb can to ask about ability. When we make a question, can jumps to the front before the subject, you. As Kael worked carefully on the golden map, Master Silas looked at the open window and then at Kael's set eyes. You have the hands of a clockmaker, but the eyes of an explorer, Silas said gently. Why do you look so defeated today? Kael sighed heavily. Because my dreams are bigger than my reality. I'm just a poor boy in a small village. I cannot build a great observatory with empty pockets. Before Master Silas answers, let's learn the word defeated. To feel defeated means you feel like you have lost everything and you have no hope left. Kael felt defeated by his lack of money. Notice the grammar in Kael's sentence. Bigger than my reality. This is a comparative adjective. We use and the word than to compare two different things. He is comparing the size of his dreams to the size of his real life. Master Silas laughed, but it was a warm, kind laugh that filled the small room. A pocket can be empty, but a mind should never be, the old man said firmly. The size of your life is decided by the size of your thoughts. If you think like a poor clock fixer, you will stay a poor clock fixer. But if you think like a master builder, your hands will find a way. Silas reached into his pocket and pushed a small, strange silver key across the table. This key opens the old, abandoned tower at the edge of the village. It is a high place, perfect for looking at the stars. It is a start, but you must choose to pick up the key. Let's look at the word abandon. An abandoned place is left empty. Nobody lives or uses it anymore. The old tower was abandoned and forgotten by the village. Here is a very powerful grammar structure. If you think like a poor clock fixer, you will stay a poor clock fixer. This is called the first conditional. We use if plus present simple tense, and then will plus base verb to talk about a real possibility or result in the future. Kael stared at the silver key shining on the wooden table. His heart was beating fast. The dusty workshop suddenly felt too small, and the distant mountains felt a little closer. Kael's hand trembled, but he finally reached out and picked up the cold, silver key. He looked at Master Silas, smiled brightly, and ran out of the dusty shop. The evening air felt fresh on his face. He quickly walked up the steep, rocky hill toward the edge of the village. Kael's hand trembled, but he finally reached out and picked up the cold, silver key. He looked at Master Silas, smiled brightly, and ran out of the dusty shop. The evening air felt fresh on his face. He quickly walked up the steep, rocky hill toward the edge of the village. There it was, the old tower. The heavy wooden door was covered in green moss. He put the key in the lock. With a loud, heavy creak, the door pushed open into the darkness. Let's pause our story for a moment. Did you hear the word trembled? If your hand trembled, it shook slightly because of strong emotion like fear or great excitement. Kael was very excited. Also, notice the word steep. A steep hill goes up very high and very fast, making it hard to climb. Now listen to the grammar in this sentence. He quickly walked up the steep, rocky hill. The word quickly is an adverb. We use adverbs to describe how an action is done. Kael didn't just walk. He walked quickly. Inside, the tower was a complete disaster. There were broken stones, thick spiderwebs, and deep dirt everywhere. The roof had a large hole in it. Kael felt that cold shiver of doubt return. How can one boy fix this giant place? He thought. But then, he remembered Master Silas's warm laugh. He stopped thinking like a poor clock fixer and started thinking like a master builder. He rolled up his sleeves and began to clean. He used the exact same patience he used to fix tiny, broken clocks. The word patience is very important here. Patience is the ability to do something difficult for a long time without getting angry or giving up. Kael needed a lot of patience. We also have the word spiderwebs, which are the thin, sticky nets made by spiders to catch bugs. Look at the grammar in his thought. How can one boy fix this giant place? This is a WH question using the modal verb can. We start with the question word how, then add can, and then the subject, one boy. It shows he is asking about his ability. Weeks passed. Kael worked day and night. He cleaned the stones and fixed the roof. Then, he used pieces of metal from old clocks and thick glass to build his very own telescope. Finally, on a clear, cold night, he pointed his new invention up through the open roof. He looked through the glass. He didn't see the dirty ceiling of his old workshop anymore. Instead, he saw bright, glowing stars, shining like tiny diamonds against the deep, black space. His dream was no longer distant. It was right in front of his eyes. Notice the grammar here. He didn't see the dirty ceiling. This is the negative form of the past simple tense. To make a negative sentence in the past, we use did not or didn't, and then the base verb, see. Kael smiled a big, bright smile. His pockets were still completely empty, but his mind was full of the universe. He realized that Master Silas was right. The size of his life really did match the size of his thoughts. By changing his mindset, the poor boy with empty pockets had finally touched the stars. The power of thinking big had changed his destiny forever. Our final words today are universe and destiny. The universe means all of space and everything in it, like stars and planets. Destiny is what will happen to someone in the future. Kael took control of his destiny. Now for our final grammar point. The power of thinking big had changed his destiny. This uses the past perfect tense, had, plus past participle, changed. We use this to show that one action was completely finished before another time in the past. Thank you so much for watching Slow English Stories. I hope you learned some new words and enjoyed the journey to the stars with Kael. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more stories, and tell me in the comments below, what is your big dream? I am Lio, and I will see you in the next story. Keep thinking big, and keep practicing your English.